home. And we have a couple of stories that we're going to be tracking here this morning. We have one in Pennsylvania, Governor Corbett. Excuse me, Bill, you know, we're having some real difficulties. Technically, folks, I apologize for that. But I've got some really bad reverberation that is going on. It's probably about a second or half or two just right behind everything that I'm saying. Are you hearing it, Tony, as well?
I'm not hearing it. I did hear some other channel coming through, though.
Oh, okay.
So I heard some kids singing. I don't know what that was. I don't know if this is going out over the air. Jeff, why don't you call us?
That's much better. Thank you, Bill, whatever you did.
Hey, Jeff, give us a call and let us know if you can hear all this over the air.
Yeah. Yes. Is it, folks, are you hearing this or is it just me?
Give us a call. Please give us a call.
651-289-4488.
Yes. And again, the stories we're going to be tracking in Pennsylvania, Governor Corbett just signed a bill that ended some of the private transfer fees from taking place with the Homeowners Association. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to be talking about a little bit later in the show. There is a family's purloining precious pet pig that Pro offers. Don't bust my chops. Please let me stay. Now, I know that sounds hammy, but that was took me a while to kind of write that tagline. So,
yeah, well worth the effort.
We're going to be talking about a story of someone who is being asked to get rid of their pot-bellied pig that is a pet in their homeowners association. But before we do that, we're going to be talking about our next story, and that is about the housing market. And we talked about that a little bit last week, but an article this week in the Star Tribune says that there is a summer housing bloom. And it talks about pending sales in the metro area, posted their strongest numbers in nearly 5 years. But then it says, though the results aren't all that good.
And last year or last week we were
talking on with what we were talking about last week's story. Tony, do you remember with Cody Lowry?
Yeah, last week the Star Tribune was reporting only negative things about the housing market.
You know, excuse me again, Bill, we're having some real difficulties today. Now, I am not hearing Tony in the studio in Eagan. Tony, can you hear me now?
I can hear you just fine.
And now I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. We've got quite a show going on. I don't know what's happening, but I think the op board is just kind of blowing up on us.
I don't know.
It's some really funky things are happening. Bill, during our next break, if you would call someone to take a look at this, it's really becoming difficult. But let's talk about this story about the housing market. And Tony, do you remember what Cody Lowry was talking about last week?
Yeah. Hey, Gene, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Bill is suggesting that you call in over the phone because now you're breaking up.
Okay.
So we're talking about the summer housing bloom.
Before you guys get in this, we just had a caller call in and state that everything is sounding absolutely fantastic over the air.
Huh. Okay, interesting. All right. Well, I told Gene to call in, so he's probably going to do that. Gene was referring to an article in this week's Star Tribune, Summer Housing Bloom, which seems to contradict the article from the Star Tribune last week, which said the housing market was in the total dumps, that everything was down, that everything had crashed after the government incentives for buying a house last spring ended. But this article says it's the strongest numbers for pending sales in nearly 5 years, although the results weren't all good. So they're talking about those numbers, pending sales looking up, but they still have a lot of negative things to say about pending foreclosures as well. The biggest barrier to a recovery is foreclosures, which wreaked less havoc on the market last month than they have in the year. But at its worst, nearly 60% of all sales in the Twin Cities were distressed sales, meaning they were in foreclosure or headed for foreclosure. I don't know if Jean's back.
Can you hear me fine now, Tony?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, good. Let's keep on trying here. I'm going to do it by the mic here. Yes, there is in this story information that kind of goes back and forth here. It seems as if the writer's not sure whether or not they can deduce anything from the statistics and some of the things that are taking place with the market today.
Yeah. I think, that's the problem. Statistics can usually be read or manipulated in just about any way you like. Can they not?
I suppose, yes, that's true. Take a look at, in that article, they had a graph on the pending sales. And, of course, you saw on there from 2004, I think, to present, it talks about, it shows and demonstrates the pending sales going up and down. But if you begin to start taking a look at that line overall, even though it spikes up and down, it looks like it is curving and may actually begin to be curving up. And I think things overall may be indeed on an upswing. A couple of the things that were brought out in further statistics, and I think maybe you can talk about this too, Tony, was how about these as signs for improvement? Number one, stable employment. It looks like I think, have some stability in our market here today. Number two, strong rent prices. Are you seeing rent prices strengthening or being able to rise a little bit now?
Yeah, rents are increasing this year. Landlords are trying to make up for their losses over the last 5 or 6 years when they could not raise rents even though their expenses were going up. So, yeah, rental rates are going up.
Okay, another good sign. And then, of course, the other is talking about the amount of foreclosures, and that entire rate is getting smaller. It said in the article, of course, that foreclosure continues to be the biggest barrier to recovery. And first, a couple years ago, it said 60% of all sales in the Twin Cities were distressed sales foreclosures.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Gene, I just wanted to back up a minute. I think it's odd that they're listing strong rent prices as a sign that the sales market is recovering. Because usually the rental market is strong and strengthening when the sales market is diminishing. So that's another contradiction. I'm not quite sure why they see that as a positive sign for sales right now.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. But again, I would say probably the most compelling statistic to take a look at would be the foreclosures. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I agree.
And here we have in the story, it said it was at 60% at its worst. And last month, the number of sales overall from the market, instead of being 60%, was 38%.
Okay, all right.
That's quite a significant drop.
So perhaps the foreclosures are being cleared off the market.
That's
and
what
there's fewer foreclosures happening.
Mm-hmm. And the article went on to say that even last month, you have another statistic, and that's what's called new listings. And you want to not only take a look at what's selling, but more importantly, what's actually on the market now that people are looking at. And of everything in the MLS right now, it said 29% of the new listings tend to be foreclosures. And so that's even a smaller number yet. So to me, it would indicate that things are finally correcting itself. And I think that bodes and shows the signs of recovery a little bit slowly. But I think something to look for with, I think, some positive future.
I don't know. Reading the newspaper, Gene, here's what I take from all of this. Things are not as bad as they report they are. Nor are things as good as the paper reports they are. That's about all I can deduce from this.
Things aren't as bad, but things aren't as good.
There you go.
Yes, and but I guess without it, there's no story, is there?
That's right. That's right.
But taking a look at this story. We'd love to hear what you think, folks. Do you see the market improving? Are you someone who's listening and has your home on the market and it went well and it's sold, or it's still on the market? Give us a call. Let us know how things are going. But let's take another break right now. And when we come back, let's talk about Pennsylvania, where they finally put kibosh on the private transfer fees that association able to collect. We'll take a break now. Back after these messages.